So hello everyone, my name is Faiez and I have been teaching maths from last 6 to 7 years now. Most of my students are from 10th and 12th standard. Today I'm going to be telling you about this chapter, quadratic equation, which you might have heard about that before. So let's start about this chapter. First, what are the real life application and why we have to study quadratic equation? That is the question that arises, right? How do we use in real life? So you might have played that game called Angry Bird and you have seen how that bird actually follow a path to hit the pig castle, right? It follow a path and it created a shape. You might have seen cricket matches in which you have seen a batsman hit the ball for the six and the ball resembles the same shape, and the shape is called parabola, which is like this, right? You might have studied this shape in your chapter polynomial in your second chapter. If not, then totally fine. But the graphical representation of quadratic equation is parabola, and we use it in real life application. For example, you have seen in bridges, so the construction of bridges, and you might have been to amusement parks where you have been into the roller coaster rides, and you can see all of those are actually based on this shape. So naturally the study of quadratic equation for the analysis of all of this is really important. So that is why we study quadratic equation, to analyze all of these things. Now what are the more things, like what are the other things that we have to study in this chapter? So let me tell you about that. Firstly, we will study about what is a quadratic equation. Secondly, we will study about some basic terms of quadratic equation. What are the basic terms of quadratic equation that we have to actually solve and see? Then we have how to solve quadratic equation, but we have what are the three methods to solve quadratic equation, which is splitting the middle term, we have completing the square method, then we have quadratic formula. And after that we will study about the nature of roots of quadratic equation. These are the things that we will study about in this chapter, guys. So I have given you an overall perspective of the chapter now, that what we will study in this chapter. Let me just tell you what is a quadratic equation now. So you might have you have studied about this thing, polynomials. Polynomials means, in polynomial, that is chapter 2 of your book. In that you have studied about, if not it's totally fine, in that you studied about quadratic polynomial. Polynomial means many terms, and quadratic polynomial means two terms. Linear polynomial means one term. So we are studying about quadratic equation here. So equation is of the form ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. This is basically a quadratic equation. How this is a quadratic equation? Because the degree here is 2. And what is the degree? Degree is the highest power on an equation. So highest power, and when the degree is 2, then that equation is basically called quadratic equation. How will you identify it? Let me give you an example. So in first, like in your NCERT 4.1, that is the first question that you have to do. You have to tell whether those equations are quadratic equations or not. So we will study that thing. Let me tell you and give you a question of that. Can you tell me whether this is a quadratic equation or not? Yeah, this is a quadratic equation. Why this is a quadratic equation? Because the highest degree here is 2. So you will just write directly, yes, this is a quadratic equation because the degree is 2, the highest power is 2. Now let me give you some other example of it. For example, the question says x cube plus 2x square plus 6x plus 3 is equal to 0. Now this is your equation actually. Now can you tell whether this is a quadratic equation or not? No, because the degree, the highest power is 3 here. So this is not a quadratic equation. So now we're going to be solving out some of the questions of this, right? You know now what is a quadratic equation, right? It is totally on the basis of this. Now you know about that. Now these are the basic terms that I have told you. But how to solve? I will tell you one of the method to solve this quadratic equation. Okay, we're going to be discussing that method, which is basically one of the method, completing the square method. We are discussing about completing the square method today, and in the next classes I'm going to be definitely telling you what are the other methods and how we can actually solve it more interestingly, right? So first, today we are just discussing about completing the square method, and the question we have is this. This is our question. Okay, if this is a question, how are we going to be solving it? By completing the square method, how are we going to be solving it? So let's talk about this. We have to just take this 3 to the other side, which will be minus 3, because when 3 will go to the other side, from left hand side to the right hand side of is equal to, it will change its sign. That's why it become minus sign, that you have studied in your previous classes. Then you have to divide the coefficient of x by 2. So you will do half of coefficient of x, which is 6, and you will get 3 here, right? You got 3 here. What you will do, you will write the equation as it is, and you will square that half, both the sides. squaring the half to both the side. What you will get? You will get this. Now what you will realize here, this makes an identity which you have studied, a minus b whole cube, whole square, sorry. How? Let me explain you that too. If you will open this up, you will get a square minus 2 into a into b and plus b square, which is 3 square. And you will exactly get the same thing, which is this. This is a square right now here. It will be 9 after square. So you will exactly get this thing only. X square minus 6x plus 9. This is 9. Okay. Now what next? You will just solve this. This is minus 3. This will be 9. Now what you will do here? It will be x minus 3 whole square and this will become 6. You will take this square to the other side. It will be in plus minus root under 6. Whenever you take square to the other side, it will always be plus minus root under 6. You have plus minus 6 here, root under 6 here. You will take the 3 to the other side again. So it will be plus 3. Now this will become plus 3, right? This is your plus 3 now. So you have two roots of x, which means you have two values of x, which is x is equal to plus root 6 plus 3 and x is equal to minus root 6 plus 3. Or you can write this as 3 plus root 6 and 3 minus root 6. So you got two values of x here. That are the two roots of x, right? Similarly like that, we have to discuss a lot of questions on this by quadratic formula, by splitting the middle term and by completing the square method. I'm going to be telling you a lot of new tricks about this on this chapter, in this chapter and maybe other chapters also. So if you want to learn in a great way and you really want to score above 90%, you can join me on EdV and you can have sessions with me. Thank you for joining me here and I will see you in the next video soon. Thank you.